All right, folks, we're making a tier list to rank all the classic World of Warcraft classes on Turtle WoW, which is absolutely goated. Best server ever.
Agreed. Turtle WoW is the GOAT. And don't forget, we are ranking the best class and race combinations in the game. Not only the best classes. All right, let's start with the Paladin class. Absolute Giga Chad, easiest S-tier rank of them all, so we may as well begin with the obvious number one choice. They're the symbol of righteousness and honor. They're the best hybrid class. They can do everything. The Paladin is the star of this game. They can do it all. Paladins can tank, heal, and DPS all at a high level. Consecration AoE tanking is super fun and extremely profitable if you know where to farm. They're way more fun to play than Shaman or sorry-ass Druids.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie. I love playing Druid way more than Paladin. Paladins are fucking boring,
Forget
dude.
what you know about classic WoW, Joe. They're buffed on Turtle, making them the strongest overall class and way more fun to play. They have access to Crusader Strike, Holy Strike, and new talent trees that make the class perfect, along with an incredibly buffed Holy Shock and other amazing buffs, believe me.
The human Paladin is a classic choice. It's most iconic class pick for a reason. Humans have the best racial for Paladins, with their sword and mace specialization providing a huge boost to their damage output. Plus, their perception ability is quite good in PvP situations against rogues and druids.
Nobody can sneak up on them. Nobody. And even if some punk-ass rogue tries to start shit with a pathetic cheap shot, they're not getting past my plate armor or my divine shield or blessing of freedom. Fuck rogues. Every time some sorry-ass rogue tries to attack me, he gets auto-hit by my retribution aura. I can just stand still and let him damage himself with his own attacks until he vanishes like a fucking pussy. Bottom line, Paladins are the champion class. S-tier.
Yeah, I know you like Paladins, Trump, but come on, humans are kind of bland, aren't they? I mean, who wants to play as a basic human when you can be a cool dwarf or a noble high elf? Paladins are great and all, but they're really overplayed. Azeroth doesn't need another human ret paladin. It's the most popular class on Turtle WoW.
Bland? Excuse me, but any paladin, whether human, dwarf, or high elf, is the backbone of any raid or dungeon group. Also, paladins have been goated forever. Have you even played Warcraft 3? They're the heroes of the game, although what happened to Arthas was tragic. By the way, Arthas made the right call with culling Stratholme, let me tell you, and it was only his stupid contemporaries that couldn't see that he was trying to save the world before the zombie scourge spread. Their backward thinking made the scourge spread all over Azeroth, believe me. If that was me, you bet your ass my army would be more forward-thinking. I would have saved the entire world from zombies, no cap. I swear, 5 minutes after the Alliance betrayed Arthas, all those humans started turning into zombies. Unbelievable. Anyway, you can't go wrong with a paladin tanking and healing for you. They're winners. They're overplayed for a reason. They can do it all. Paladin is the best class in the game, and human is the best species for it, period.
Look, I see both of your points, but I have to say I prefer playing as a high elf paladin. I have a paladin alt. They may not have the best racial for paladins, but they look fantastic. Their rage regeneration ability is pretty cool, and their arcane resistance is useful.
Arcane resistance? Are you serious? How many times is 10 arcane resistance going to be useful at all? Maybe the first boss of AQ 40? Who cares about that useless passive ability? Dwarves have the best racial for PvP with their stone form ability, which can remove poisons, diseases, and even bleed effects. That's huge. Human and dwarf are easy S tier, but high elf paladin should go to B tier for their obviously less useful racial abilities.
Come on now, Donald. You have to admit that the high elf paladin has some style and elegance. Plus, their rage-generating ability is handy in certain situations. I agree that S tier for human and dwarf paladins is deserved, but high elves should be A tier.
Style and elegance? This isn't a fucking beauty pageant, Barack. We're talking about gameplay here. Have you ever even played a paladin at endgame? They don't need a mana evocation spell. Leave that one for the mages. Holy paladins are basically near infinite mana machines since their spell crits refund 100% mana cost.
Well, Donald, just because you can farm Dire Maul Lashers better than most other classes doesn't mean you're a skilled player. That's like the most brainless gameplay.
Oh, please, Joe. You're just jealous because you know I'm the best paladin player in the world. Nobody can beat me. Nobody. As if your furry druid ass could ever defeat me in a 1v1. You wouldn't make a dent in my golden plate armor. My holy shock crits are also way more powerful than your weak-ass healing over time, Swiftmen bullshit, believe me.
All right, let's calm down, gentlemen. We're all friends here. Let's just recognize that we prefer playing as different classes and move on. It's really not a big deal.
Well, I just like having fun and trying new things. That's why I also sometimes play as a female high elf paladin. I love to look at her cute little ass while she runs.
You're welcome to enjoy this game the way you like, Biden. I won't judge. I think it's all about personal preference. Each race and class combo has its own strengths and weaknesses, and it's up to the player to decide what works best for them. At the end of the day, it's always better to go with your heart and create the character that feels right for you. Our opinions are not as important as picking the one that's right for you.
Whatever you say, but at the end of the day, the human paladin is the ultimate pick. They have the best racial, the most versatility, and they look pretty cool too. I won't hear another word, Obama. Human paladin best for PvE, and dwarf paladin best for PvP, and both are S tier.
I do see your point about objectively superior abilities that most players would find more useful. Okay, I think it's settled. I'll put human and dwarf paladin at S tier, with high elf at A tier.
I don't even like playing paladin, really. They are boring, and there are too many of them. I'll stick with my fuzzy druid, thank you very much. My paladin is just my bank alt. I sold all her armor since I don't need it anyway.
Druids are mid, Biden, and you know it. Moonkin druids fucking suck. Everybody
Now, Donald,
knows
don't
that.
be rude. Druids are a fine class. They can shape-shift into different forms depending on the situation. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you tell him, Barack, druids are awesome. They can heal, tank, or DPS as needed, and they have some of the best-looking gear in the game.
Please, Sleepy Joe, you can't even see druid armor when you're in your goofy-ass Moonkin form. Paladins are the superior hybrid class, and everyone knows it. Moonkins are a meme pick, no cap.
Oh, yeah? Well, how about we settle this in a duel, then? Just like the Americans used to do
Yeah,
back
because you're
in the
old
day.
enough to remember. You're on, Sleepy Joe. Let's go.
All right, let's calm down. We're all friends here. Let's agree to disagree on this one. And besides, we aren't focusing on Druid right now as it's way too controversial, and I don't want you guys to start fighting. We are going to move on to the Horde Shaman, the opposite of the Alliance Paladin. The Shaman is the hero of the Horde. Thrall himself, the leader of the Orcs, is a high-level boss shaman, the real big boss of the Horde.
All right, skip druid for now because we just covered a hybrid class, but it makes sense to go to shaman. I have a female Tauren shaman alt named Milky Mamamoo. They're pretty nice, I guess. What do you guys
Shaman
think?
is definitely an A or even an S tier class in my book.
Well, I can see that shaman can be amazing with the ability to heal, damage, and provide buffs to party members. I like their chain heal and chain lightning. Totems are pretty interesting, too. They have a cool vibe to them. They are the elemental nature class. I like playing as a shaman. I like nature.
Wrong. Shaman is a disaster. A total disaster. They're not as good as other classes in anything. They're weak. They're losers. C tier.
Come on, man. Have you seen the damage output of a well-played elemental shaman? Chain lightning is lit. They can put out some huge numbers, huge critical hits that can hit multiple targets at once.
And don't forget about their healing abilities. They have some of the best group healing spells in the game. Nobody heals groups better than them. Chain heal is a one-button full party heal. It's definitely one of the best healers in the game.
Fake news. Elemental shaman are terrible in raids. Terrible. And a resto shaman's healing is usually nothing compared to a priest or a paladin. Nothing. Okay, maybe it's fine to take one resto shaman in the raid to put in the party with the main tank. In my raid, I'm excluding elementals, and I'm only taking resto and enhancement shaman. And maybe not even them. Maybe I'll just take more paladins. Paladins are great. I love paladins. A 40 paladin raid would be completely doable. You bet your ass I'd take a raid consisting of 40 paladins or 20 for ZG and AQ 20. Hell, I'd take 40 ret paladins to AQ 40, believe me. We just need a mage to make us oranges before we head in. It's all you need. 40 ret paladins is a big dick energy team that could take on anything, including Naxxramas. Most people are too fucking scared to even try it when they know deep down it could really work, especially if they're all in tier 2.5 gear. In Warcraft lore, paladins were instructed by God himself to defeat undead and demons, which make up like 80% of the NPCs in this game. Meanwhile, what does a shaman have? Generic mystical nature shit. Who the fuck cares? Shaman is C tier.
They can turn into a ghost wolf, which is pretty fucking cool. And it provides a very useful travel form. Well, I happen to really like shaman class flavor, and I consider it among the best in the game, understandably rivaled by paladins. What about their totems? They provide so much utility to the group with different totems providing different buffs. Let's not forget Wind Fury.
And their ability to resurrect fallen party members is incredibly useful in raids. Incredibly useful.
Sleepy Joe, priests and paladins can also resurrect. It's not that special. Not like you would know with your moronic 30-minute battle res cooldown. And totems are a joke. They're just little sticks that you have to drop every 2 minutes. Who has time for that? Not me. Paladin buffs are much better. They last longer and they're stronger. But you know what? I guess having some Windfury totems around can boost my Giga Chad Ret Paladin DPS even more. Shaman are B tier at best, B tier.
All right, well, Joe and myself both like to play Shaman sometimes, and we really like them, and we think they're strong and fun to play. They're overpowered in PvP, and Chain Heal can be the best raid healing in the game.
They can resurrect themselves after dying. Only Shaman and Warlock can do that. But Shaman can res the party after a wipe, making them invaluable.
Right, Shaman are really good to have around. So let's just go with A tier and move on.
Come to think, I've also seen Elemental Shaman score a triple kill in Battlegrounds with one Chain Lightning cast. And I gotta say, even though I play Alliance, it feels really satisfying to watch a multi-crit land so beautifully, really satisfying. Of course, I've never been killed by Chain Lightning before, not even once, believe me. So just because Elemental Shaman have really cool lightning spells, I'll agree to A tier.
Okay, great. I'll put Shaman at A tier. And I think we can all agree that no matter what race you pick, Shaman are pretty much the same in power level. So Tauren, Troll, and Orc can all go in A tier.
My favorite thing about playing a Shaman is water walking while planes running on my Tauren Shaman, which is a great ability Turtle Wow brought back that allows Tauren to run quickly without a mount.
Whoa, hold your horses. I forgot that Tauren have planes running on Turtle Wow. That's really cool.
Wow, that's actually pretty cool. Okay, you know what? I'm moving Tauren Shaman to S tier, just for planes running and water walking at the same time. How about that?
You know what? I'll go along with that.
All
Me
right,
too.
enough about Shaman. Let's move on to the Warrior class. Arguably the most important class in the game is the main tank. Protection Warriors are easily the best tanks in the game and are the only ones fully equipped for tanking the hardest raid bosses. Additionally, Fury Warriors can top DPS charts if they're geared. Warriors may also be the hardest class to play optimally, with a huge toolkit of abilities that requires planning, applying Sunder Armor, split-second awareness, applying 5 stacks of Sunder Armor, careful spell rotation while managing their rage meter, managing boss mechanics, and applying Sunder as fast as possible. What do you guys think?
Warriors are amazing. With their ability to tank and also do great damage, they're a clutch asset to any
I agree.
team.
Warriors are great. They're not only the best tanks in the game, but also the best raid damage. But not every race pick is a good one for Warrior. Some races are better than others. And I think what holds them back from S tier is their dependency on gear more than other classes. Rogue and Mage are a more natural DPS than a Warrior.
True, the Warriors can pump out some insane numbers. Have you seen the damage output of a well-played Fury Warrior?
I love huge numbers. Everyone knows I love huge numbers. And about their top-tier tanking abilities, they have the best mitigation in the game, hands down.
Now, I love my Bear Druid, and I don't really play Warrior, but I admit that Warriors have the edge. Bears don't have shields. They just take it to the face.
I'm not denying the Warriors' important abilities, but I think they're just not as good as other classes in anything else. They're too gear-dependent and expensive to maintain. If you play a Warrior, you also need a Mage or Paladin alt to farm gold for all your consumables, gear, enchants, and repairs. No cap.
What about their ability to charge and stun enemies in PvP and become immune to fear?
And there are many different shouts, like Demoralizing Shout, which can reduce enemy attack power and make them easier to take down. Warriors are just always shouting. It's pretty nice that Warriors can channel their rage into productivity.
Okay, but what about the fact that besides the Sippy set, Warriors have no natural self-healing? They also have no reliable crowd control abilities. They have an AoE fear, but it's on a 10-minute cooldown, and it's useless in most raids. Useless. They still get a lot of other cool oh shit buttons, but they're all on a 30-minute cooldown timer or whatever. It's a really long time to wait to use your coolest abilities. Not good.
That's true, but they're the best at what they do. And let's not forget the racial bonuses. Humans have a +5 skill to maces and swords, making them great at raiding since it gives an extra 3% hit rating. It's a pretty big deal. My warrior is a human because there's no way I'm buying Edgemaster's handguards for 1,400 gold.
Get good, scrub. It doesn't take that long to farm gold. Fucking casuals, I swear.
The reputation bonus is also good. Humans are definitely S tier for warriors. Despite how boring humans are to play in a fantasy game, they have peak racial bonuses for the Alliance.
Yeah, but what about dwarves? They're amazing in PvP with their stone form ability, which can remove bleeds, poisons, and diseases. That's a big deal,
That's a good point. I'd say dwarves are at least A tier for warriors in PvP. They're very strong, very tough. But what about gnome warriors? Gnomes have escape artists, which allows them to break free of any immobilization or movement impairing effect. It's a tremendous ability in PvP. Nobody else has it. Nobody.
Well, I think gnome warriors are certainly a viable option, but I wouldn't put them above dwarf warriors. The stone form ability is just too valuable in PvP. It can remove all kinds of debuffs and increase your armor by 10%. That's a big deal. That's how we win. Gnomes have escape artists, but there are many other ways to break out of stuns. There are fewer ways to remove bleeds, poisons, and diseases, making dwarf an objectively better choice for warrior.
I love when someone picks a little pink-haired female gnome for their warrior. It's really cute. It's hilarious to watch a gnome warrior tank a massive dragon. And what about night elf warriors? They're kind of in the middle, right? The dodge ability isn't that great, but it's something.
Night elf warriors are a disaster. F tier. They have no good abilities, no good racials, nothing. They're losers.
Now, hold on a second. I don't think night elf warriors are that bad. They have shadow meld, which can be pretty useful in certain situations. You can hide from your enemies and ambush them when they least expect it.
Okay, 1% dodge totally sucks balls compared to other warrior racial passives. Okay, maybe no warrior deserves an F tier, but they're still very low tier, very low energy. I wouldn't play one if you paid me. D tier, and I won't hear another fucking word about this trash pick for warriors.
I still think night elf warriors have some creative potential in PvP with their shadow meld ability. Imagine using charge out of shadow meld. Pretty cool stuff, if you ask me. It could be a great way to defend bases in battlegrounds. How about we compromise and say C tier?
That sounds fair to me. C tier for night elf
Fine,
warrior.
C tier for night elf warrior, but only because I'm feeling generous today. All right, next up is high elf warrior. I haven't played one myself, and I don't think I ever will. I would put them at D tier relative to the superior choices.
No, they're not D tier. They do have some interesting abilities. They have the ability to regenerate rage, kind of like a mage's evocation. That's pretty handy to use at the start of a fight. They also get a plus 15 skill boost to enchanting.
Yeah, that sounds okay. But don't they look kind of weak in armor? They're very skinny, very frail. They don't look strong in plate armor.
I think they're okay, but not as good as some of the other races. They have some decent abilities, but nothing that really stands out. I'd put them at C tier with the night elves.
Come on, man. They're better than that. Their city is so pretty, and the high elf girls are really pretty. I always make females when I play as an elf. They're so cute. High elf females deserve at least B tier. I love looking at a female character's ass while walking around the world.
Okay, Joe, whatever weird shit gets you off. Is that why you picked Druid, so you can stare at a bear's ass all day?
Shut the fuck up, Donnie. First of all, my main is a male Tauren balanced Druid, a Moonkin. Secondly, all of my alts are females, and I prefer it that way, so let me play the way I fucking want, Trump, and stop judging me.
Whatever, Sleepy Joe. Okay, the female elves are pretty hot, whatever. However, high elf male warriors look terrible in armor. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Their posture is so bad. They're constantly leaning off center. It looks wrong. Warriors are supposed to look strong, very strong. High elves look like they have scoliosis while standing still. They can't even properly swing a sword, believe me. Their animations are flamboyant and over the top. In the Burning Crusade expansion, they didn't let blood elves pick warriors for good reason. For some reason, Turtle allows them to be warriors again, which I think was a huge mistake.
I see your point, but I don't think that's a deal breaker at all, and some people probably even prefer that slim, handsome look compared to an ugly orcish monstrosity, for example. They still have some decent abilities. But I think compared to other warriors, C tier is fine.
I don't really care. I don't play warriors. As long as they hold threat,
All
I'm
right,
fine
C
with
tier
it.
for high elf warrior. Let's move on to Horde Warriors now. What do you guys think?
Orc warriors are S tier all day. The racial blood fury ability increases attack power, making them incredibly strong. Nobody else has the raw attack power buff that an orc gets. Nobody. They have a racial bonus to axes, which is a great weapon choice for warriors and very suitable for the orc style. They can resist stuns. Orc warriors are goated. Best warriors in the game. The best.
I agree. Orc Warriors are definitely S tier. The hardiness racial ability gives a 25% chance to resist stuns. It's insanely overpowered, and it can make a big difference in PvP. Orcs are definitely a top choice for warriors in both PvP and PvE.
Tauren warriors are also really strong with their increased health pool and the ability to stun enemies with War Stomp. And don't forget about plains running.
Plains running is so underrated.
That's damn right. And they also have War Stomp.
Yeah, you just said that, Joe. I just remembered that undead warriors have the will of the Forsaken ability, which can break fear, charm, and sleep debuffs. It's really good, better than Tauren. It's pretty much the best PvP racial in the game.
Undead can also cannibalize humanoid or undead corpses, which is probably the most twisted ability I've ever seen. But I have to admit, it's pretty cool.
Tauren's stamina bonus is not nearly as useful as the orc's abilities. Same for undead, much weaker than orc. No chance.
Okay, so what about A tier for Tauren and B tier for undead? Now let's talk about troll warriors.
There's nothing to talk about. Who uses bows and throwing weapons as a warrior? Nobody. Their racial ability is useless. Troll health regen is a joke. Believe me, nobody cares about it. Nobody.
But they do have berserking, which increases their attack speed for a short time, which could be very useful for warriors. Although, as a mage player myself, I am more familiar with how useful that ability is for my class. I think we can all agree that trolls are okay, but not on the tier of human or orc. I still think I would pick Tauren over troll just for the vibes.
Yeah, brother, Tauren are the best species in the game. They're chill as fuck. I like their quest lore. And don't forget that War Stomp ability. It's a game changer. It lets them stun nearby enemies, which is great for both PvP and PvE. I'd say Tauren are A tier for warriors.
That's right, Joe. War Stomp is good. I'm glad you appreciate it so much.
Fine, Tauren are A tier. I'll give you that. They're huge. Huge. They have big armor. Very big. The biggest armor.
Donald, you only play plate armor classes. You stand around AFK and Stormwind all day, showing off your purples to other nerds.
Shut up, Biden. You don't know the first thing about armor? You play a druid. You look at a bear's butt all day.
I'm just trying to roleplay as a peaceful druid, roaming the lands, collecting flowers, and minding my own business.
You filthy casual, Joe. You know, too bad this isn't a full PvP server.
Okay. Let's get back to the topic at hand. I'm putting Tauren Warrior at A tier. Back to Undead Warriors for a minute. How do we feel about them? Personally, I think they're pretty average. They have some useful abilities like Will of the Forsaken, but they're not very strong compared to other species.
Yeah, I agree with you, Obama, and I think the +10 shadow resistance is not very helpful in most situations. It might help in a few raid fights, but it's not
Biden,
a big
you're
deal.
an oomkin. You don't know the first thing about raiding. Have you ever even raided before?
Of course I have, you prick. I've been to Molten Core.
Did you even finish your Onyxia quest chain, Sleepy Joe?
Not yet.
That's
It just
pathetic,
takes forever.
Joe.
And,
You've been level 60 for like a fucking year. God damn it, Sleepy Joe, you're such a fucking casual. I don't know where to start. Maybe if you didn't play as a fucking moonkin druid, you would actually get invited to groups more often.
Look, I respect his right to play the game however he wants. This is a free country, after all. This game offers a lot of diversity and options for different players. And for that, we should be thankful and acknowledge the freedoms we have as citizens of the United States of America.
Yeah, you can play however you want and be a noob in your terrible gear. Going out of mana all the time, getting your team wiped, everyone yelling and screaming, it's terrible. Or you can play to win, like me. Nobody else knows how to raid like I do. Nobody. I have the best gear, the best guild, the best skills, the best everything. It's a game, and like every game I play to win. I don't understand you losers who don't even go for pre-raid biz. Unbelievable.
oh, for crying out loud, Trump. I feel like you're not even having any fun playing this game. You're just obsessed with grinding and farming and adding a few numbers to your pixels. I bet you don't even enjoy the scenery or the lore or the social aspect of this game.
You don't know what you're talking about, Biden. You're a loser who can't even afford his own epic mount. You're still riding around on that pathetic level 40 mount, aren't you?
Actually, I don't have a level 40 mount either. I play a druid, remember?
Oh, my God.
I can shapeshift into travel form and run more efficiently than any mount. And I'm an herbalist, so I can gather herbs while I'm a cheetah. I don't need a mount, Trump. I'm better than that.
Biden, you're such a filthy fucking casual. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. You don't even have a level 40 mount? Holy shit. I didn't know gamers like you still existed. A mount is essential for any World of Warcraft player, whether you're a total noob like Biden or a pro like me. All players need a mount.
Come on, man. I like my druid travel form. It's fast and convenient. Fucking paladins, man, I swear. You're just a bunch of egotistical jerks. Do you think you look cool with all that shiny gold armor? Fuck paladins. I'll take my Tauren Moonkin druid any day over your small dick energy on your magical, majestic golden pony. Your sparkly paladin mount is like someone who buys a Corvette to increase his dick size and fuck caked up gold diggers.
Guys, seriously, let's calm down here. We have a lot to cover and we're running out of time. Let's get back to the warrior tier list. I'm putting Undead Warrior at B tier. Will of the Forsaken is a nice perk, but it doesn't make up for the lack of other useful racial abilities.
Well, Obama, I think you're forgetting something. The worst warrior race is Goblin. Have you forgotten we're playing on Turtle WoW? They added goblins as a playable race.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Goblins are probably awful as warriors. Their speed boost ability is not that useful and even dangerous for them, I think. I don't know, I never even made a goblin, to be honest.
I love the goblins, and the goblin cities are the best in the game, the best. Goblins know how to make gold like it's nobody's business. Believe me, game recognizes game. But it's a waste of time to actually play as one, honestly. Goblins are only good for PvP, maybe. They have a speed boost that can help them escape or chase enemies, but for PvE, they're useless. Warriors don't need the bonus to daggers. Maces are okay, but who cares? The best weapons are all swords anyway. Goblins are so tiny you can't even see their gear, so getting an upgrade doesn't feel as satisfying. And they're not cute like gnomes are. They're ugly and annoying. F tier.
I almost agree with you on that one, Trump, but I don't think any warrior deserves F tier. The speed boost is okay, if completely useless, in a group or raid environment. Besides, a bonus to mining, maces, and daggers is pretty good for warriors. I think we can put Goblin at C tier for warrior.
Fine by me. I don't care about goblins or warriors.
Goblin
anyway.
goes in D tier, or I'm never doing this again with you guys.
For fuck's sake, Donnie, fine. I'll put Goblin Warrior at D tier. Okay, so we're finally done with the warrior class, and I think that's all the energy I have for this today. We'll have to revisit this tier list next time, gentlemen.
Whatever. Sounds good to me. I'm surprised Biden is still awake, though. Isn't it past your bedtime, old man?
Hey, watch it, buddy. I'm not that old. I still have some energy left in me. I'm going to log on to WoW for a bit and check the auction house. Maybe make some more major mana potions. You guys playing
Of course
tonight?
I'm playing, Biden. You know me. I'm always online. Trump, what about you? I see you're in Dire Mall again. Don't you ever get bored of farming gold?
Listen, Obama, you're just jealous you can't AoE tank like me. Besides, you don't get rich by being lazy. I worked hard for this gold. I earned every copper of it.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to hop off Discord now. Good night, everyone. We will finish this tier list next time. If you watch this all the way to the end, please smash that like button and hit subscribe, and stay tuned for part 2, because there are still way more classes we need to cover. Peace.
Good night, homies.